All right. Hello, everyone. And once again, welcome to my little corner of the podcast world. Thank you so much for listening today. I really hope that I can share something with you to help make your wedding images better. If you are enjoying this podcast, you might also love my book. I just want to quickly remind you that it is available on Amazon. It's Prime eligible, and there will be a link to that, directly to that, in the show notes. Today, February 1st, if you are listening live or listening in real time, I'm sorry. Today is the first day of Black History Month. And I want to tell you that I never knew this was a thing until I joined the military in 1990. I had never heard those three words strung together in a sentence, and I was almost 21 years old. I also, growing up in school, never got MLK Day off. We always got a few days off for students to go show their animals in the local stock show, but we never got a single day off in all my years of elementary, junior high, and high school for MLK. And I just always found that so backwards. But that's a story for another day. So if you're listening in real time, happy first day of Black History Month, and let's do everything we can to learn more about Black history, not only in February, but throughout all of the rest of our lives. So having said that, let's dive right into today's topic: diversity and why it's important to our wedding industry. So first of all, researching for today's episode, I learned a new acronym. I had never heard this acronym before, and I hope I'm going to pronounce the acronym right, but it's BIPOC, BIPOC, and it refers to Black and Indigenous. Oh my gosh, Indigenous. Why can't I say that? Indigenous people of color. Indigenous people of color. Black people live and love in our communities, and they deserve to see themselves in the wedding industry. They deserve to be comfortable, appreciated, and visible. Black and brown people have love stories too, and those love stories should be shared and glamorized and romanticized just as much as any other love stories. And I'm giggling to myself because I can hear the word indigenous in my head, but I can't make it come out of my mouth. That's so bizarre. Anyway, getting back to my outline here, we need to let those Black and brown love stories know that those couples are welcome in our industry, and that their weddings are just as important as any other couple. And while we're on this topic, I just want to quickly address anyone who says, I don't see color. I've heard that a million times over my life. And excuse my French, but I just want to call bullshit on that, because how can you not look at someone and not notice the color of their skin any more than you don't notice the color of their eyes or what they're wearing or, the car they drove up in? You can't not see someone's color, just like you can't not see a tree in your yard or a car coming at you on the opposite side of the street, or a beautiful rainbow after a summer's day rain. It's there, you see it. And when I look at someone, I do see color. I notice if you're a very light pale color, if you're recently sunburned, if you're beautifully freckled, if you're frequently tanning, or if your skin is very darkly pigmented. I do see your color, and I appreciate and I celebrate your color no matter what hue it is. But what I don't do is treat you differently based on what color your skin is. That is where the issue is. So how can we create more diversity in our world? What we have to do is stand up for our Black and brown sisters. We need to donate, vote, call our government officials and demand change, and educate our friends and family, read, learn, and support Black-owned businesses. And how can we create more diversity in our wedding industry? So for starters, our industry as a whole needs to stop featuring events or weddings that take place at old slave plantations. To me, this is just sickening and ignorant. And it doesn't matter how elegant or charming. And if you're listening on the podcast, I'm using air quotes to describe the plantation as elegant and charming. There is still a very horrific and grotesque history that happened on those plantations, and it should never be celebrated under any circumstances. That history should never be forgotten or ignored. And I just don't understand how someone could celebrate their fairy tale wedding, and again, for the podcast listeners, I'm using air quotes, at a place where sisters and daughters and mothers and grandmothers were raped and exploited, and where brothers, sons, and fathers and grandfathers were publicly tortured and lynched and beat. And how could a business owner capitalize on that pain and trauma? In my humble opinion, there is just no way to justify that. There is no excuse to celebrate that. So call out or help other fellow photographers and creatives in your area to promote more diversity. Anytime I've been involved with a styled shoot and asked if I had any personal requests, I always respond the same way. Can we make this less vanilla? And what I meant by that is, let's add some diversity. Let's add some Black and brown people. Let's add some more Black and brown vendors. Let's add some diversity into this shoot. Let's not make it look like every other styled shoot that happens in our local industry here. Social media gives us all a reach that is unlike any other that we've had in history. And let's challenge our network of creatives and your network of creatives, even if it makes everyone uncomfortable. We need more representation of BIPOC. Again, that's the Black and Indigenous and oh my God, I can't say that word. Indigenous, people of color. The lack of inclusivity in our feeds is discouraging and it's disappointing. And I'm going to confess that in my local community, every now and then I do spot checks on my fellow photographers to see if they are sharing Black and brown couples, if they are sharing LGBTQ couples, because I want to know if my local vendors and my local industry are diverse. I want to know who I'm competing with and who I'm working with when I go out on my paid jobs, or if I'm asked to participate in a styled shoot. I want to know how diverse are my fellow vendors and my fellow colleagues and my fellow competitors. So please make it a point to promote and showcase more Black and Brown love. And if you don't currently have Black and Brown couples who have hired you to work for them, one way that you can get Black and Brown couples in your social media feeds is by planning a styled shoot, which we all love to do anyway. But make sure that you not only feature the Black and Brown couples, but ask Black and Brown vendors to participate as well. And I guarantee that it's going to encourage more Black and Brown people of color to work with you and to help them feel safe and welcome coming to you and asking for your services. And also find local BIPOC wedding vendors to network with and ask them to collaborate with you. Create genuine relationships. No one wants to be the token BIPOC couple or BIPOC vendor for you. Think of all the vendors that you can promote and network with. DJs, videographers, caterers, florists, planners, hair and makeup artists, etc. Black and Brown business owners deserve all the support they can get. Regardless of who you are, we all have to come together to promote more diversity and exemplify it in our areas. Announce that you want to do your part in promoting more diversity and ask your audience to join you, just like I'm doing today. The wedding industry obviously isn't going to solve racism. The roots of racism go far beyond that, but we all have to play our part as individuals and businesses in building a more inclusive environment. So in closing, we can all use our platform, no matter how big or small it is, to stand up for the underprivileged, the underserved, the suppressed, and our brothers and sisters of color who are still fighting extremely profound battles day in and day out that we know nothing about. Remember, if we are not part of the solution, we are actually part of the problem. So do something today, do something every day to help fight racism. If you want to show a little support for the show, just hit that support the show link at the bottom of my show notes. I would certainly appreciate that. If you love this episode, I would appreciate you to share a screenshot on Instagram, and you can tag either Complete Wedding Ed or Add a Girl Photo. Again, those are links in the show notes. You can visit either of my websites, completeweddinged.com or attagirlphoto.com. Again, all the links are in my show notes. If you ever have a topic that you want me to cover, you can just email me at tammy@attagirlphoto.com. Thank you so much for listening today. I hope you have a mind-blowing day. I will catch you next time. Adios. I'm going to try one more time. Indigent. Somebody please help me with that word. I cannot say it. All right, guys, I will see you later. Adios. Bye-bye.